You may be seated.
This is the case of Bradley versus Tessiner.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone. Mr. Bradley, you say for 19 years you've wondered, who is my father?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you're hoping today's DNA test solves your intricate family mystery. Mr. Tessiner, you claim you are 100% sure you are not Mr. Bradley's father.
Yes, Your Honor.
You say another man is on his birth certificate and paid child support. Furthermore, you say the dates of conception do not add up.
Yes, Your Honor, that's right.
In addition to your paternity case, Mr. Bradley, you're also asking the court to award you $50 in clerical fees. You state you plan to change your last name to Tessiner if indeed today's results prove the defendant is your biological father. Now, Mr. Bradley, first, please explain to the court, how has your life been not knowing the identity of your father?
It was really tough going to my football games, not having a father there at my football games. I joined Boy Scouts. I had to go with a friend and his father, and kind of felt like a third wheel when I watched them interact with each other, and it's kind of tough, and not having a father myself to go camping with and to take to the juries at the Boy Scouts, and kind of just had to go with other friends and their fathers to do things.
And so all your life you felt this absence,
Yeah.
this void.
Yeah, this void, and a longing to have a father myself to spend time with.
You thought another man was your father.
Correct. I was sitting in the car, and my mom and my aunt were arguing, and my aunt looks at my mom and tells her, well, why don't you tell him who his father is? And I looked at my mom, and I'm like, what's going on? And my aunt says, well, your father's James Tessiner. So then I started pushing my mom into letting me go see him. And I met him when I was 13 and didn't get to see him again until I was 18.
Until you were 18 years old.
Correct.
Mr. Tessiner, please explain to the court why you're so sure you're not Mr. Bradley's father.
We only dated for about a month. I remember pulling over on the side road one time to make out. I cannot even remember having sex with her, and I never knew that she was pregnant or that a baby was born.
Never?
Never.
You were never contacted?
I was never contacted. No, ma'am.
And so when did you first come to know you potentially had a son?
His aunt brought him to my house and said he was my baby, but I didn't believe her because I had heard nothing from the mom, knew nothing about her being pregnant, so I just thought she was messing with me.
So, Miss Bradley, you, of course, remember having a relationship with Mr. Tessiner.
Yes.
And he says he knew nothing about you being pregnant or anything. What happened during that time when you found out you were pregnant?
I had, thought I had told Mr. Tessiner that I was pregnant. I'm not sure on that.
So what he's saying may be true.
Right.
You may not have even told him.
Right. And when I had my son, I didn't put anybody down on the birth certificate as the dad. I wasn't, sure. I thought it was my boyfriend I was dating at the time. I hadn't seen Mr. Tessiner in a long time. So I didn't put anybody down. And the nurses said, well, you're going to have to put somebody down as his dad. And I said, well, I think it's... Excuse
me.
My ex-boyfriend.
Excuse me. No, no nurse can tell you to put nobody on nobody's birth certificate. It should have been left blank. It should have been left blank.
Nobody's name was put on the
Can't nobody make you put no name on a birth
1984.
certificate. No, they shouldn't have been nobody put on that birth certificate until there was a paternity test done.
And that makes you angry that you've lived through this type of confusion.
Yeah, because I watched that man go to jail for child support.
She's lying.
And
she
the name was
put the
printed
other
on,
man's name on there until 1984.
All right, gentlemen, just one at a time. I want to understand you, but one at a time.
The
Go
name
ahead.
on the birth certificate was printed. It was not signed. He did not sign that birth certificate.
So there is another man on the birth certificate. He was paying child support.
Went to jail.
Went to jail for failure to pay the child support. And your frustration is you believe all the while.
She knew who my dad was.
Did anybody bring this birth certificate with the name printed?
Yeah.
And I've watched the gentleman in question sign papers. He knows how to sign his name.
So this is another man other than you?
Another man be signing the birth certificate by court order. If you look in the right-hand corner, it says by court order unless DNA was done then.
So, Ms. Bradley, let me ask you, why did this other man sign the birth certificate?
The court ordered someone on the birth certificate. And at that time, I told the courts that I felt like my boyfriend then was his father.
Without ever having a paternity test?
I think the other man had a paternity test. I was
Did you
told
believe when you
he did.
provided that name, he was the biological father? Or you knew?
At that time, yes, because Mr. Bradley was dark-skinned when he was born. And then his facial features started to change. And he looked more and more like Mr. Tessiner.
So literally, as your son is growing and getting older, you're watching features change and you're watching this young man begin to look like another man.
Yes, ma'am.
All the while, the other man is paying child support and even going to jail for failure to pay it.
Yes.
I think he looks like the other man, and I heard that the other man took a DNA test before he started paying child support. Have Lillian to pull his britchy legs up. Look here. See how white I am? Look how white I am. Pull your pants leg up, Lillian. Mr. Bradley.
So you're saying his skin tone.
His skin color.
I wear shorts.
He's
all the
darker
time.
than me.
If you want more episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell. So you're saying the other man took a paternity test,
That's
was
what I heard.
confirmed to be the father,
That's what I
and that's
heard.
why he was responsible
That's
for
what I
child
heard.
support.
Why is she going after the other man for child support in 1984? And he's a roofer, and roofers only works part of the time. I'm in the military in 1984. If I'm the dad, why didn't you go after me then? I paid child support on my other kids.
So you're saying this whole thing has been masterminded.
I think she just changes it to whoever's doing better. That's who she tells him his daddy is. That's what I believe.
And this makes you angry because potentially you missed out on.
If he is my son, I missed out on a lot, didn't I? And if he ain't, look at what he's been put through over it.
Exactly. Thank you.
All because of lies. Because every time she talks, she's lying.
All right, so Mr. Bradley, tell me about your relationship with the other man.
I talked to the other man, and I asked him myself, point blank, I said, was there a DNA test done? He said no. When I was 18, I made her go pick him up, and I told him in the car that I was not his son, that I've met James, and I told him how much we looked alike and how much we acted alike.
Did the other man ever have doubts that
Yes,
you were
he
his
did.
biological child?
His sister told him, if he's your son, she said, then I've got oceanfront property in Texas. She said, when y'all started dating, Anita was already pregnant with him.
So she told you point blank?
Point blank. She said, I told you so. Because I seen her later on at my great-grandmother's funeral, or the one I thought was my great-grandmother.
So you meet Mr. Tessiner, and you feel like you look in his face and you see your face.
Exactly.
But Mr. Tessiner, you say you do not see any
He looks that
resemblance.
much like me. He's darker than me. A lot darker. He's got straight hair. Before I went in the military, my hair was long. It was almost like an afro out here like this. His hair's straight as a stick. The other guy is half Cherokee Indian. His mom.
So you feel like this other person.
I believe DNA was done already.
So you just convinced that a DNA test was done, even though the man says it wasn't?
I ain't heard the man say it wouldn't.
Did you hear the man say?
How am I gonna believe him? Because he's just like his mama. They both lie.
Really? How do
They
you
do.
know this?
I've been around him a good bit. I helped him get
So
a
you-
house. Without
Why did
putting
you
his-
help him get a house if you didn't believe he was your son?
Well, I mean, he's coming around calling me daddy. He needed a house. He had kids. And I was working for a lady that flips houses. So I talked her into letting him have a house until he gets his income tax without putting a down payment down. What'd he do? He let it go. Quit his job, lost his house. Ain't never worked much. Like I said, we only slept together once. If we slept then, I remember pulling over on the side of the road to make out, but I honestly do not remember having sex. I had sex with her sister before I did her, and I remember that. And if I can remember that, why can't I remember her?
Miss Bradley, do you remember having sex with him?
I remember having sex.
Did you
Never
use
even told me
protection?
She was pregnant.
Whew. So, Mr. Bradley, everybody's talking, telling their side of the story, what they think happened, why they think it happened this way, and yet I don't feel like either one of these two people are processing what you went through as a child.
Because neither one of them really give a damn.
I've tried to be there. I've tried to be. If I didn't give a damn, not even thinking he's mine, I helped him get a house. I've went and fixed his girlfriend's cars, his cars. I've done a lot for him even with doubt that he is mine.
He's right. I mean, she has lied to me a lot growing up. He did help me get the house. I just want the results. That way he knows the truth, and that way I can move on with my life.
Do you have doubt?
No, I don't have no doubt.
So, Mr. Tessiner, you say you're 100% certain he's not your biological child.
Yes, Your Honor. If I knew he was mine, I'd be there more, but she never even told me she was pregnant. I mean, why not?
You admit you didn't tell him?
I admit to that, yes. I thought that my boyfriend that I was dating at the time was his dad because of the dark skin.
Nah.
And
You was pregnant
the
with me when
reason
you got
I
with him.
didn't tell Mr. Tessiner, I didn't bother him, it's because he had gotten some trouble and he left town. I didn't look for him.
Well, that's a lie because the trouble, he was born in 81, right? That trouble didn't happen till April 82.
I was under the assumption that my boyfriend at the time was my son's father. But as he grew older, his features started changing, and I could see more of Mr. Tessiner.
But when you got pregnant, you had slept with more than one man during the window of conception. You admit to that? You
Yes.
knew that?
Yes.
So how could you know which man was his biological father?
I didn't.
Okay. So
Yeah.
the truth is you didn't know.
No, I didn't. know.
Precisely. So why did somebody
Yeah.
get put on my birth certificate? That's my question. Why was anybody put on my birth certificate? I don't care what DSS said. I don't care if it's the Pope. You shouldn't have put nobody on my damn birth certificate.
I asked Miss Bradley to split the price of DNA. He was sitting right beside me when I asked her, because I got the phone from him and asked her, and her, if y'all want DNA done, y'all get it done.
Now, what I want to understand is, at a certain time, you began to feel like your son started looking like Mr. Tessiner.
Yes,
And you say you began to see his features change.
yes.
At that point, did you approach the other man that was paying child support and say, I think we need to do some DNA testing, or I think we need to go to the court because you're responsible for this child support and I don't think it's right?
I went and talked with him, and I went to court, and I had his child support stopped. I asked the judge what I needed to do to have the child support stopped. The judge told us to walk out of the courtroom that day and go down to Cleveland County and have the child support stopped, which we did. And I told him, you're not Lee's biological dad.
And why would somebody
And
else
if
keep
I
on
ever
paying
owe
to pay
you
it if he's
anything,
mine? Why would
as far as
somebody else
child
keep on
support,
if he's
I'll be
mine?
glad to pay that back.
Why would somebody else be paying if he's mine?
I mean, Mr. Tessiner, you have to understand the reason why he was paying. He had to pay by the court or he'd go to jail, which he did do at some
Yeah.
point.
He
And that's what really made me mad about the whole thing was me seeing him in jail. You can't give a man his freedom back. You can't give him that time lost back, or the time that he spent paying all that money buying me school clothes, when he should have been living his own life. I mean, it's not fair to him. It's not fair to me. I didn't get to know my great-grandmother. I didn't get to know my
Yeah.
great-grandpa. I didn't get to know none of these people.
I would have been there if I knew the truth. I paid child support on my other two kids until they was 18. I'm raising two of my grandkids right now.
So, Mr. Bradley, you say that if it's determined that Mr. Tessiner is your biological father, you would like to have his name.
Yeah, me and his sister have a close relationship. And
I support that.
I mean, me and him's had a relationship. It's just, he has that doubt, and I don't judge him for having that doubt. Because he's
With all
been
the
told so
lies
many
we've been
stories.
told.
I've been told so many stories, and it's all because of people worrying about, well, how am I gonna look? The truth's the truth. Put it point blank on the table.
Well, I think it's time we all learn the truth.
Yes,
Jerome?
ma'am, I do too.
Mr. Bradley, you claim Mr. Tessiner is your biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Tessiner, you disagree? You do not think you're the biological father?
I've got doubt. I've been told so many things. So
You've accused everybody of lying, but the DNA never lies.
that's right. That's what
So-
I told him.
Here are the results. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics and they read as follows. In the case of Bradley v. Tessiner pertaining to whether Mr. James Tessiner is the biological father of Litland Bradley, it has been determined that Mr. Tessiner, Do you want to watch Paternity Court on TV? Go to paternitycourt.tv to find your local listings. In the case of Bradley v. Tessiner pertaining to whether Mr. James Tessiner is the biological father of Litland Bradley, it has been determined that Mr. Tessiner, you are his father.
Now we know.
And I know you said you feel like you missed out on a lot.
I know I did.
But at least everything's on the square now.
How do you feel, Mr. Bradley?
I already knew.
You knew it. So, you have requested clerical fees in the amount of $50 should Mr. Tessiner be determined to be your biological father. Now, I will say this, you're 32 years old. Statute of limitation has long since run out. But, Dad, your son would like to have your name.
That's cool.
I technically cannot award him that amount, but I was wondering if you as his father would help him.
We can get it done.
I'm happy for you. And you know your dad now, and you all enjoy one another and make up for that lost time. I wish you all the best of luck. Court is adjourned.
Thank you, Glad that it's done and over with, and he knows now.
We needed some healing. He needed to know his dad had messed out on a lot. I'm sorry, Shorty. I should have told you, but it's better late than never.
At least I know now, but it's been probably 12 years since I seen her, and it won't hurt my feelings if it's another 12 before I see her.